Let me repeat that. Prices in Britain will rise even if there has been no change in the supply of pounds. On the other hand, if the demand for pounds rises, the value will rise and prices will fall even if there has been no change in the supply of the currency. Velocity is the speed at which money changes hands. When demand for the money is high, money changes hands more slowly and velocity is low. When demand for the money is low, velocity is high. A key point is that velocity and money supply can act as substitutes for each other. A 10% rise in velocity has the same effect as a 10% rise in money supply. The biggest problem with velocity and money demand is that they can turn 180 degrees overnight. If people trust the currency and suddenly perceive some kind of big threat to their futures, money demand can shoot up. And that's exactly what happened last year. The supply of dollars certainly did not go down, but when the real estate crash happened, people became so frightened they were afraid to let go of their dollars. Within a few days, money demand shot up, people stopped spending and held on to their dollars. And this had the same effect as an instantaneous deflation of the money supply. If you don't spend your money, that's the same thing as taking it out of circulation. This can instantly cause the equivalent of a sharp deflation of the money supply by 10 or 20% or more. And that's what happened in the Great Depression. The Federal Reserve was inflating. In 1932, the money supply was $20 billion, and by 1940, it was $38 billion. But fear was so great that velocity was falling faster than money supply was rising. This is why Franklin Roosevelt said in his first inaugural speech, "The only thing we have to fear is fear itself." People were afraid to spend their money, as they are now, and velocity was falling, which has the same effect as deflation, because if you don't spend your money, it's not in circulation. So, speaking economically, I think that is where we are now. Changes in money demand and velocity are running everything. And my key point is, it's all controlled by emotions, by fear. What are you more afraid of? The dollar becoming worthless or losing your job and running out of dollars? The whole world is constantly shifting back and forth between those two fears, so money demand bounces up and down like a yo-yo, and velocity, the speed at which money changes hands, does too. These wild shifts in money demand and velocity have the same effect as massive, instantaneous shifts up and down in money supply. It's like we're having a huge inflation, then a deflation every few hours, because our fears change every few hours. Because the politicians have all this arbitrary power and we don't know what they're going to do to us. Now, do you see why it is so important to see the economy not as a machine, but as an ecology? Machines don't feel. They don't have fear or joy or optimism. But people, biological organisms, do have feelings. They do fear, and their fears can change instantaneously. The human ecology, especially these days, is driven very largely by emotions. How are the politicians and bureaucrats who are playing God ever going to control or fine-tune or repair or speed up or slow down our emotions? Okay, so I've given you 3 of the things politicians in the mainstream press say little or nothing about, probably because very few of them understand these things. The 3 are, number 1, the economy is not a machine, it's an ecology made of unimaginably complex biological organisms, meaning people. Number 2, models. There is no single economic model like there is in Newtonian physics. Obama probably does not realize his advisors are giving him conflicting advice because they have different models. And number 3, velocity. The speed at which money changes hands is dependent on emotions. Now you know some of the things Obama doesn't. Perhaps a good summary of what I've said so far is, when people play God, they always do it badly. And the politicians and bureaucrats have been playing God with the human ecology for more than a century. And now the chickens have come home to roost. On March 29th on our website, we posted a special bulletin telling my readers that I think there is an 85% probability the recent deflationary stage of the crisis is ending and the next inflationary stage is beginning. I can't prove it, but I think the bottom in non-dollar assets has occurred or is occurring, and now is the time to get into non-US dollar assets, meaning Swiss francs, New Zealand dollars, Canadian dollars, Australian dollars, oil and other raw materials, real estate, and especially gold, silver, and platinum. Pat Gorman at Resource Consultants in Phoenix can help you with the gold, silver, and platinum. I've been recommending Resource Consultants to my readers for about 20 years and have never heard of a complaint from any of them. If I'm right about this new inflationary cycle, then within 2 or 3 years, we will see oil at $300 a barrel, gold $3,000 an ounce, platinum $3,000, and silver at $50. I think we have 3 to 5 years of chaos ahead of us, but a lot of new fortunes will be made by those who are knowledgeable and prepared. We're going through a giant and very painful object lesson, but when it's over, America will be back on track to a new golden age, and the people who are knowledgeable and prepared will enjoy a prosperity far greater than anything ever seen before. And that's the objective of my newsletter, Early Warning Report, to get you through the hard times as comfortably as possible so that you can enjoy the golden age that will come after.